Greetings, audience. My name is Trevor Rudd, and welcome to our show, 66, where today we will be discussing the development stages of children from 6 months to 6 years old, better known as early childhood development. Today on our show, we have several experts specializing in the physical, cognitive, and social emotional development of children. Today, we want you to stay tuned as we take a closer look to understand the importance. First up on today's show, we have Ms. Tiffany Cheek. Ms. Cheek is an expert in the development stages between the ages of 6 months to 1 year. Please welcome Ms. Cheek. Greetings, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, Ms. Cheek, please tell me about the development stages between 6 months to 1 year.
Well, they learn to trust others and be secure in the world through the performance of the following tasks: learning special concepts like up, down, near, far, developing the nervous system and muscle coordination, learning mobility and manipulation of the environment through control of hands, legs, head, fingers, etc., distinguishing pleasure from pain, and adjusting to short periods of separation from primary caregivers. Their physical development involves beginning to crawl and even beginning to walk. They also like to put things in their mouth and they are unable to control their bowels. In their intellectual development, they may not speak until age 1 or later. They learn through their senses, especially through the mouth. They like to put things in and out of their mouth. They like to repeat the same behavior as well. They like to see novel things. They also begin to understand such familiar words as eat, mama, bye-bye, and doggy. Their emotional development is in a sense that they need to feel secure with the caregiver. They are also unhappy when their primary caregiver leaves. In social development, they find their mothers or the mother's substitute extremely important. They will talk to you through babbling sounds and start to indicate behaviors of others. Eating is a major source of interaction for them. Sometimes they will not play nicely with other infants, like they will poke or push them, but this is because the child doesn't distinguish others as equal beings as the primary caregiver.
Thank you again for sharing the information with us today, Ms. Cheek. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You as well.
Didn't she do a great job? Next up, we will have Ms. Adriana Clyde, who will be discussing development changes from children in the ages of 1 to 2 years old. Please welcome Ms. Clyde. Thank you for joining us today on 66. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing good.
That's really good.
So today we have another question, and this question actually comes from one of our social media accounts, which is Twitter, and one of our followers, who was named 99 Problems and My Kid Is One, asked the question: Dear experts, I have a 1-year-old son, and I want to know what are normal development findings in kids this age.
Well, a normal development would be in physical development. They're now walking on their own. They're walking backwards. They're able to pick up objects while standing, and they're pushing and pulling objects. In cognitive development, they recognize themselves in a mirror. They find hidden objects. They understand and respond to words and commands, and they may begin to match similar objects. And in social emotional development, they enjoy playing with other people, and when the playing stops, they may cry a tad. They become more communicative and expressive with face and body motions. They imitate some movements and facial expressions, and they can identify their mother and father. This is with social and emotional development. And then there's another one that's speech and language. They say more words every month. They use more simple questions. They can put 2 words together. They point to body parts, and they point to pictures in books.
Wow, that's really amazing.
Great.
Well, we thank you for that information
Well,
today.
thank you.
Okay, at this time, then Ms. Clyde is leaving. We're going to take a quick commercial break and then come back with another expert to give us a little bit more information on child development.
I'm a big kid, look what I can do. I can wear big kid pants too.
Introducing Pull-Ups Disposable Training Pants from Huggies. They go on like underwear and protect like a diaper, even overnight.
And I can pull them off and on.
New Pull-Ups Disposable Training Pants.
Mommy, wow! I'm a big kid now.
And we're back discussing more on childhood development with some of the experts we have on today's show. We have already had some good information from Miss Clyde and Miss Cheek on some of the earlier stages. Next, we're going to bring up Mr. Terry Boone, bringing us information about the 3 and 4-year-olds. Please welcome Mr. Boone. Good, so how are you today?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So today, on today's show, we want to ask you a question. Now, tell me about a little bit about the childhood development for a 3 to 4-year-old.
Well, the ages of 3 to 4 years old are often referred to as the magic years, and these years are usually ran by vivid imagination and fantasy. In language development, the infant should have mastery of some basic rules and grammar. They should speak clearly enough for strangers to understand, and they should speak in sentences typically containing 5 to 6 words. In cognitive development, the infant should understand the concept of same and different. The infant also engages in fantasy play and becomes very inventive. They begin to have clear sense of time, and they also understand the concept of counting as well as knowing few numbers. In social and emotional development, the infant cooperates with other children. The infant also becomes more independent and interested in new experiences. Also, the infant negotiates solutions to conflicts and knows how to dress and undress themselves. In physical development, infants are generally skilled in using a spoon or fork, climbing trees, and cutting with scissors.
Everyone give him another round of applause. Okay, so next up we will have a short film on children from the ages of 4 to 5 and their development.
Hi, this is Dominic from Motor Skill Learning, where we bring you daily exercises to develop motor skills to try out with your child. I highly encourage you to try out the exercises to get the results. Comment below the videos. We would love to hear your feedback. Attach a post-it to your finger and hold it slightly above the reach of your child. And now have your child jump up and try to grab the post-it. Have your child stick the post-it grabbed onto a wall to keep track of how many they already got, which is very motivating for kids. You want to make sure to hold the post-it low enough for the kids to be able to grab it within 3 to 5 jumps. Kids that young need success quickly to keep going and stay engaged. Each day of the week we work on a different skill: reaction, differentiation, balance, orientation, rhythm, hand-eye coordination and physical activity. I hope you try it out to get massive results. The difficult part is to close the fingers at the right moment to be able to grab the post-it. Initially, lay out a rope straight along the floor and have your child stand on one end of it. By jumping and spinning around in place, roll up the entire rope to make it look like a snail. Each day of the week we work on a different skill: reaction, differentiation, balance, orientation, rhythm, hand-eye and physical activity. Try it out. The benefit can only come from doing it. The goal is to roll up the rope by jumping on one leg to improve balance, even if it takes several tries. Make sure that one leg is in the air, so your child has to jump and maintain balance on one leg. Try it twice with your left leg and then switch to your right leg to pass the exercise.
Wow, what a great video. Seems like this child development thing is getting a little bit more interesting as we go along. So at this time we'll have quick messages and then we'll be right back to talk to our last expert.
Saving a bunch or not saving at all?
A bunch.
Okay, what would you buy with all this money you save?
I buy a changer machine so I could change my brother into a puppy.
Couldn't you just buy an actual puppy?
Yeah, but if my brother's a puppy, I could bring him to show and tell and say, hey everybody, here's my puppy brother.
Well, when you say it like that, it makes perfect sense.
It's not complicated. Saving is better. Now it eats.
And we're back. Our last specialist today studies the development stages of children ages 5 to 6. Please welcome our last amazing specialist, Ms. Bria Campbell.
Hello.
Greetings, Ms. Campbell. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So, okay, earlier today we had a question from our social media account, which is Twitter, and another one of our followers just tweeted us another question. And they asked, the follower was Baby Mama Without the Drama. She tweeted, Dear experts, my daughter is 6 years old, and she doesn't like to play, jump, or run. Should I be worried? What do you have to say about that?
I would have to say that she should be a little worried because physically at this stage, children are being active and playing and jumping and running around and also doing things like writing and drawing. So if she's isolating herself, that could be a social issue as well as a physical issue part of her development. As far as this stage, like I said, being active is very important. Cognitively, children usually start at the age of 5 at school, so they learn how to be organized, use patterns, as well as knowing their colors and numbers, knowing their name, their address, and things like that. So pretty much a lot of identification things. Socially and emotionally, kids are centered around their families and they build simple relationships and friendships amongst their peers and amongst teachers and family members. Their behavior is very independent and they learn fairness and simple rules. And lastly, they're, like I said before, able to name themselves, give their age, and simple things about them. So they're pretty amazing little creatures.
Okay, so that's very interesting. Everyone give one more last round of applause to our specialist, Bria Campbell.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for giving us this information. Okay, so that wraps up our show today, 66. Please come again next week as we talk about more interesting facts from other